All right, guys, thank you for coming back. This is going to be the second half of the episode from last week. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's weird because I think less people are dating now than ever before
Yeah, yeah.
of people saying committed relationships. I don't know what's going to happen to this generation because it's very possible that some people some people talk about a population problem that there's a chance that we may overpopulate, and there's another chance that people are saying, like, are there a lot of people now, and if we all populated, would there be a population problem eventually? Most likely, if it just like steadily increases, where more people each year are having more babies. But I think this generation is having less babies on purpose. They're still having a lot of illegitimate babies,
Yeah.
and some people are still doing like, we didn't plan it, but we wanted it, and then
Yeah.
other people planning it. But they're saying that the amount of people not trying actively not to have kids are more than ever, and that's going to lead to a population problem, and also less kids. They're saying a generation of old people are going to die fast because they're not going to have any younger people to take care of them or do like the harder jobs and shit. Like if there's less young kids, there's more old people
I get what you
kind
mean.
of fending for themselves.
Yeah,
But I
because
mean, you can make arguments for.
well, I mean, I can understand that because they say that like when you're older like that, they say that if you're married still and you have like a spouse, that usually, I mean, it's not obviously not in all cases, but usually the other spouse will die within like 6 months to like a year or something like that. After that, because it's just like that was like your last bit of
Yeah, that's the only
withholding.
reason why you were
Yeah,
even alive. After a while, you're just like, fucking cares? I can't imagine there's gonna be a time if you're lucky, like us, we're gonna get to a time staying friends long enough that one of us is gonna die first, and then you have to go on through your life of like, I had a homie for this long, and now as long as I'm alive from this point on, they're just not gonna be here. And it's the same thing with like your family, friends, everything. That sucks because I've lost some people already,
yeah,
and it's crazy because there's like a time before their death and a time after, like
yeah,
obviously, but there's like
yeah,
your life is a certain way with them there,
yeah, yeah,
and then it changes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we talked about this. Your life is defined by the, sadly, the negative things in your life.
I mean, of course, if you let them define you, they can affect you more because some
Right,
people
right,
have very positive outlooks, or
right,
they
right.
don't get too wrapped up on what's happening to them or who they are
Mm-hmm.
in the past. It's about who they want to be, and that's a certain kind of person, a person who can become the person they want to be, and the other people are like they become the person who they think they are,
Yeah,
who they think they deserve to be, just because like, oh, like, that's just who I am. I'm
yeah,
not gonna change. I'm not. It's like those people like in movies where like, I'm just not good at this book shit,
yeah.
teacher. I just don't know this fucking school shit. He's all like, if you just open up your mind, you could do anything.
What's 7 times 7, huh? 1, 2, 3. No, average name is almost.
On what was that movie? How do
Uh,
I teach these
how do I
kids?
teach these keys? That's South Park, but yeah.
Yeah. But that's the kind of person who's willing to accept who they are right now as the person who they will be forever.
Yeah,
And there's people who can build themselves into who they want to be. And that takes a certain amount of conviction, patience, and skill.
yeah,
And if you don't develop those individually to where they can help you rise in your path to becoming who you want to be,
yeah,
um, you're going to end up not doing it. And then you'll make excuses for, yeah, dude, I need to work out every day. But I'm tired.
yeah,
I work all the time.
yeah.
I have
Exactly.
kids. And those are good excuses or good reasons. There are reasons. You can make them reasons, good enough reasons. You're like, yeah, I can't. Why I can't?
Yeah,
Some people can, I can't. They don't have a job. They don't have. And then some people who have all the same things as you, maybe more adversity, maybe more responsibility. And then it's all about what you want, really. It's like some
exactly.
people want money and success more than they want anything else. Some people just want to make enough and do enough to where they can take a moment where they can breathe deep and be like, everything's cool and everything's gonna be cool.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
That's
I
a
mean,
success in its own.
yeah, I'm like, sometimes that, yeah, exactly. I'm like, you know how hard it is to get peace and time? Like, I live by myself and I have a hard time getting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's not an easy thing, like, to be able to just sit or lay down and just have absolutely no worry.
Yeah.
Like, every bill's paid. I got money. I got food. You know, like, everything. Like, I'm just big breath.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
There's no feeling really like it. But what's crazy is that some people will get that feeling and get an empty feeling because maybe they're not happy with who they are. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
go out and chase something that they think they need. Or maybe they do need it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get to the top. A lot of people get to the top. They get like to the top of like success in their career, their financials, their love life, their acquisition of like things and power. And some people might feel like busy and verified, but I think a lot of people, if you have enough time to be introspective, maybe they think like, but why does it feel like I need something more? Like maybe I need more power or
Yeah.
more money or more fucking weird parties, date raping everybody, and maybe I need this, and maybe I need that.
So you can't turn the switch off.
Yeah, and are they? They're successful in a lot of ways, but are they like?
Fulfilled.
Yeah, are they lost? And that's that thing where a person who lives in a small village having nothing could be more spiritually fulfilled than the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree with that.
it's weird how that works because even if you're somewhere in the middle, it's very hard to find purpose and fulfillment.
Definitely. Definitely. Because as I've gotten older, like, I want to travel more.
Me too.
Like, I haven't done anything. I haven't gone anywhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, like, I talk about it all the time. Colorado was the fucking best trip I've ever been on. Like,
I can't imagine going there for fun. I went there as a bum, but and it was amazing. I can't imagine going there for
it's
fun.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking amazing.
The mountains are crazy. Like
Yeah.
having that in your life all the time would make you a different person. I
Yeah.
don't know on how much on what level, but it will make you act different.
Yeah. I'm like crazy. It's a 4-season state. There's not many states like that. We're definitely not like that here in
Yeah,
Texas.
I think we're like 2.5.
Yeah. So and then like I said, we went at the beginning of winter, so it wasn't snowing yet. It didn't snow until the last day when we left.
That's pretty cool.
And it was only
You don't want to get into the complications of that anyway.
Yeah. But so it was cold though. Like it was in the 40s and 30s the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Which is cold to us.
Yeah, so like yeah, dude, so like we're all cold like dude, there's like it's so like it's like a movie, seriously. There's fucking Christmas decorations on all the stores. Like when we went downtown, there was like literally a whole street that's like they have lights hanging from street light to street light. They have the lights hanging from street light to street light. Like there's decorations everywhere. They have trees up. Like they have areas where they have like certain figures and things like music and all sorts of shit. I was like, dude, this is the most Christmas I've ever felt in my life. Like I don't know. I've never felt that like here. It's fucking 80 degrees on Christmas Day. A lot of times.
Sometimes it's wet.
It's like, how do you feel Christmas?
It rained. It rained. It snowed once.
Yeah.
It snowed twice actually, but it snowed once in the past recent couple years, and then it snowed once when I was real young, for one day, and it got like pretty deep. It didn't get like thick because it was real soft. On the side of my house, it was up to my waist.
Yeah.
It was fucking fun.
We drove up to Aspen from where we were. We were in Wheat Ridge, just like upper ends of Denver, and we drove up to Aspen, and it had snowed in Aspen. That's why we went up there. It was only like an hour away or something.
Mm-hmm.
And man, dude, there's snow everywhere. It was like a village like kind of thing, and I think it was German based because there was a lot of German people there, which would make sense. But man, it was just fucking beautiful up there. But then it started snowing. And I was like, let's get out of here. I was like, because for one, I don't have any experience of driving in snow. I was like, I don't know how heavy it's going to fall or anything. I was like, and then, like, because when we drove up, it's all fucking incline. We wasted like 3/4 of a tank going up, and when we came back, we only wasted a quarter tank. Like the entire time I was coming down, I wasn't even pressing the gas. I was braking the whole time
Yeah.
to maintain speed. Like that's how much of an incline it was almost.
What?
And then you're going fucking side by side with 18 wheelers and like,
Yeah. I mean, I drove into there and out of there, and I walked around while I was there, so I didn't have to do a lot of the traffic. But going in and out was scary, and it's through the mountains.
yeah,
It's through the fucking Rocky Mountains going out if you're going west,
it was crazy.
and it's intense.
I
You
don't,
would see wildlife right there on the fucking side of the mountain.
dude. So we left. We went overnight. Remember I told you we left at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly where we were, but we were on a back road basically, and I was literally like the only car on the road, dude. And I kid you fucking not, the fog. It was like 4 in the morning, so it's pitch black. There's obviously no street lights. You can see like as I'm like, dude, like seriously, as far as you are from me, that's how close I was before I would see like a deer's eyes. Like I'm like literally fucking what 10, 15 feet from you. Like
Did you drive really slow?
no, I was hauling ass because they say if you're gonna hit a deer, you should actually drive faster.
No, fuck that. I would have been going 20 the whole time because it's not even gonna be that bad anyway.
No, dude.
You're crazy, dude.
Dude, 16 hours, bro. Like
You
I'm
could
not
have
trying.
died.
I'm not trying to lose.
You would have been like
Well,
the
like-
football players from Beetlejuice
So,
where you walk in the office.
So they're like, I mean, to be fair, like it's a 4-lane road, and I'm in the far lane, and as much as I can, I'm kind of like drifting so
Mhm.
that I'm kind of in the middle of the road. Because obviously, if a car with headlights is coming, like I see it
From how
because
far?
I can see it from a good distance because the lights are on. The reason I can't see most things is because it's literally dark and the lights weren't that great.
But if your lights illuminate all the fog right in front of you, it's hard to see the lights coming through the other side. You could still see them from pretty far.
From a good distance, I got at least like 50 feet.
Fog
to
might be
100
the-
feet. Dude, it was crazy.
Fog might be one of the scariest things to drive through, because I mean heavy rain. That's what's worse about fog is that it'll heavy rain so hard that it's hard to see only like a couple times. But
Yeah.
when it's foggy, it's foggy.
Yeah,
like, you can't
do
fucking
anything about
see.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. And so it was like that whole time, and it was pitch black. Like, I remember, like, at one point, everybody woke up. Not all at once, but, like, you know, in small fractions. Everybody's like, how are you fucking driving? And I'm like, just go back to bed.
Go back to sleep, say your prayers, close your fucking eyes, put on your seatbelt. Don't tense up. Don't tense up if you hear something.
Dude, that was crazy. But, dude, that was such a fucking wonderful drive, though. We went up through New Mexico to go up to Colorado, and then we stopped in Colorado Springs. Fucking beautiful.
I got dropped off in Colorado Springs at like 1 a.m, and I slept under a tree that was in the middle of like a roundabout
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the town, like in the middle of the night. There was no one around, and I slept under a tree, and I walked into Denver the next day. And I think I was there for 2 days. So like I got there at 1 a.m. that night, and then the next day I walked, and just I don't even know what I was doing back then when I was on this trip, where I didn't have any money, so I couldn't go in anywhere because I
Right.
felt like and I had a bunch of stuff with me, so I couldn't just leave the stuff. I didn't know if anyone was gonna fuck with it, so I just kept walking and looking around, and I had no idea where I was going. I would ask people like questions and directions, and then eventually I came on this side of town of like, how would I get out west if I was going to leave here? And they're like, it's going to be through the Rockies, but you can't walk through there. It's too cold. There's a lot of traffic. There's no place to walk. There's a lot of animals. You could die. I was like, fuck. So, I was there in the main city, I was there for 2 days. I was there for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Because then the first night I was downtown. I had to find a place to sleep, and I found a little nook on the side of a parking garage, and I was gonna sleep there. And then a security guard came out. I was all like, he was real nice. He's like, man, you can't stay here. I was like, fuck. I was like, I understand, man. And I told him what I was doing. I was like, you have any, is there any idea you think, like, is there somewhere that you think around here that I wouldn't bother anybody to where maybe I was out of sight. And he's like, nah, man, there's just, there's these homes, there's like housing downtown going this way, but that's it. But I left. I ended up sleeping in an alleyway between two buildings, like really tall buildings downtown in the middle of the night, like a really narrow alleyway of like the size of a shopping cart, because that's what I pulled in there with me, and it blocked one way of the alley, and behind me was all the way down the street, but I went all the way to the middle of the alley, so that way I could hear. It would be a long time before someone would get to me.
Yeah.
If someone was coming down from the alley, and the other, my feet was blocked.
Yeah.
So you couldn't.
Gets it.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and then I walked along the river through the city. That's like sunk in.
Yeah.
Almost like not like a ditch, but it's like they made this like walkway that sits below like street level that you take stairs into. There's a bunch of entry points, kind of like a seawall, where the river runs through the city, and there's like two big walkways on each side that people like walk their dogs and go jogging and rollerblade and shit. And I just followed that out till like, dude, it took me forever to get out of the city. It took me like 3 days, and then when I got there, I was waiting at a truck stop for like a couple of days, asking people for rides, sleeping in a ditch, and like it was during October, so it was really cold, because I was right there at the opening to the mountains, and it would get fucking cold at night, and I'd sleep outside in a ditch in a sleeping bag, and I put on all my clothes, and I put on all my hats, and I had a sleeping bag that was long enough to where you could get all the way in and zip it all the way up.
Yeah.
And I had to do that to where I had to like sit into it like a bag.
Yeah.
And block the top with my bag to where I was like sitting in like a tube with all my clothes on, fucking trying not to freeze to death. It was fucking cold, because even in the bag, it was cold. Yeah. And if I would even just open the thing to like look around, like open the bag enough to where I could see, the wind was so cold it would hurt my face. Like my face would burn instantly. I was like, oh fuck. And I just it was a nightmare. Dude, and I got a ride from the sketchiest dude, like the sketchiest dude you could take a ride through the mountains with. It was like the white P Diddy. I was like, dude, this guy might did me. And it was scary. I had to have a conversation with my mom. I called my mom and I was like, I'm about to take this ride from this guy. This is what he looks like. This is what his truck looks like.
Holy shit.
This is what company the truck is from. This is what he says his name is. This is all this information. This is where I'm leaving from. Like the name of the place I'm leaving from. Because they would have records of all that. And I was like, he says I'll be at this place where he's going to drop me off where I'm going. He says I'm going to be there by this day. Roughly around this time, but like by this day for sure. If you don't hear from me after like the first like day or two after this point, I would say at least a day. Like if you don't hear from me within 24 hours of that day, like say Tuesday at 2, you don't hear me 24 hours within that time, call the cops.
Holy shit.
This dude was creepy, dude.
That's crazy.
It turns out he was nice, but it doesn't mean he wasn't creepy. And it doesn't mean he wasn't a creep. Because I was very standoffish. I was very like grateful and polite about the whole ordeal, because I realized he was going out on a limb for me, because he was. He was doing something that it was illegal. He could get fired for, all this stuff. And he claims he was helping me because he was nice and that he was trying to do something nice for me. And I told him when he was going to give me a ride, I was like, hey man, I appreciate it, but I'm going to try to find someone else to take me if you don't mind. Like I'm going to try to, let me see. Cause he said he was going to leave until the next day. Yeah. And he was saying, and this is how I got out of making it weird, is that he said he was going to leave the next day, and that against it, because he came and talked to me a couple times, which I thought was weird, because like everybody else hated me there. All the other truckers, like they just ignored me, or some of them straight up were fucking dicks. And he was the only one that came to talk to me while I was standing out by the road trying to get a ride at the end of the parking lot of this truck stop. Yeah. And he came and talked to me a couple times, real nice, but like creepy. Like little boy touching creepy. And I was real cordial with him to where I didn't want to come off as like, hey, fuck you, like outright.
You're a fucking weirdo.
Like, yeah, I don't want to make an enemy.
Yeah, yeah.
of whatever this guy is. I don't want to make an enemy of it. I don't want to make any enemies while I'm out here, draw negative attention.
Right.
So I was just like short and just like, yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, I'm out here just trying to get a ride, blah, blah, blah. And he even told me, like, yeah, I'd give you a ride, but I can't. Like, it's if my company found out, they'd fire me and it's illegal, blah, blah, blah. But then, long story short, like, he was there for like a day or two while I was there. And then he's saying, he came up to me, I was waiting for a ride still. And he says, I'm leaving tomorrow. I shouldn't do this, but if you want, you could come with me and blah, blah. And I'm just going to do this and do that. And I can have you there or whatever because I'm going there. And I told him, oh, man, that's cool. I appreciate it. Like, I don't want you to get in trouble. And he was leaving the next day. I was like, if I can get a ride today, I'm going to just try to leave today. And he's like, all right, man, well, I'm just letting you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't get a ride. And part of me was thinking that if I don't take this ride, I'm never going to get a ride. I'm going to be stuck in Colorado. They don't like
hitchhikers.
Yeah, or
essentially
vagabonds.
Yeah.
They don't enjoy these. It's not that they hate them, but it's like I'm not going to get any help, and it's not going to be. I'm going to have a homeless experience here.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I was trying to get to a place where I was going to stay with some distant relatives. So I was like, man, I think I'm just going to take this ride. And when he was about to, like, when we were about to set off and stuff like that, and I was telling him, like, that's when I got a little defensive because I had to make it known. I was like, hey, dude, I'm just letting you know, like, that's cool if you want to give me a ride. I appreciate it. I don't have any money. I can't give you anything, and I'm not going to, like, do anything for you.
Yeah.
And, he seemed like he, like, laughed it off, like, like, you shouldn't even think of that, or if I staved off a creep or, because, I mean, he was still nice. He still gave me a ride. We talked the whole time. He was an openly homosexual man. And I was young, but I wasn't underage.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still take advantage of poor, sweet, innocent old me. Like, and it would be wrong because I said no, sir. It was like, technically, I was like an adult going with him willingly. So.
Did he? Huh? Did he?
No, he did. He did not. He did not. Because I said no. I said no.
Dude,
no, sir.
That's crazy, though, to have to be in a situation to where, like, that would be, like, something, like...
Could have been Dahmer, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's...
I could have been the dumbest person in the world.
God damn it.
Dumbass. So it was... and my mom was horrified. I was like, Mom, if I don't do this, so I don't know if I'll ever get out of here. And, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was dumb because I should have tried to get a job. I should have tried to get, whatever. Because, it's not like I wasn't capable of doing that. I was just kind of not really, I didn't have no game. I was going on instinct moment to moment that whole time. There was no real substance or goal. I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me see. I was like Man versus Wild, but like urban style. Like, hey, hey guys, I'm gonna go on this trip. No money, no fucking plan, and I'm gonna see if I can come out on the other side alive. Let's go.
Let's go. Follow me to the wild.
He's like, this is
the craziest thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, this is chaos.
This is fucking chaos. I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna eat.
I had to eat a dog.
The cat was in bed.
That was one day I'll tell that story piece by piece in chronological order.
That's interesting. That's crazy fucking.
It was an experience.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
That's fucking knuckin' futz, dude.
You don't learn that in college. And I think that just further solidified my personality of giving people a benefit of the doubt, because you never know who's a good person. You never know who's going to help you despite the kind of person they are. If you could see their whole personality on a spectrum of like, maybe this guy isn't like black or white, good or bad, evil, whatever, malicious. But people will surprise you of who's willing to go out of their way to do something kind.
Yeah.
And other people who will go out of the way to do something fucked up. And then there's the middle area of that's huge. of people who just don't care.
Yeah.
And I admit I am one of those. Everyone's some of that to a certain degree.
Exactly.
But the middle ground is it's like a natural herd. I'm just trying to survive, dude. I can't go on a limb. I can't
Yeah.
afford to. I don't want to. It's scary.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like some people are trapped by that. They're trapped by fear, the fear of life, the fear of something going wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially something will. I mean, I can't imagine anything.
But you try to avoid it.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I definitely fall into that group as well. Like,
You have to be, especially when you have kids.
yeah,
You can't be a hero with kids. You don't want to remember your dad as everyone's like he was a hero. He died for someone else. It's like I would have rathered him be here with me.
yeah, because it's
Being
like
selfish.
even if you made it, like all those stories they talk about how like they were even in poverty, some of them before they got rich. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like even at that, it was like definitely those times weren't great. And I'm sure for the first few years it wasn't that great either because he was probably working a shit ton after that once they got famous and or did whatever they did and all that money.
Yeah.
Like it's you don't just get the money and then that's it, you get it laid back. Like I'm sure it's a few years before you get that established and everything well oiled and running.
Yeah, I follow this channel on Instagram where they talk to people who are like super successful, like real short interviews. This guy does real short interviews with people who are very successful, and he just asks them questions about advice, like kind of like that real gem of, hey man, like what do you do? How much success have you had in your life? What's the most successful year? What's the worst thing that's ever happened? And how would you advise someone who wants to do something like you? What like a tip you can give them that they won't learn, or something that you could tell your younger self that would have set you up faster. And it's interesting of how many times you hear these guys fail of like, yeah, this guy's super rich and successful, but he's like, yeah, dude, I was broke like more times than I was well off.
Yeah.
And it was like fucking like the worst times, but I just kept going. And that's what you just do. He's like, and that was like one of the guys' advice of like, hey man, if you really want it, even when you lose, just keep going. You'll win again eventually. Like,
yeah, that's what
losing's part of it. You're gonna lose.
Exactly.
And eventually you'll get smart enough to maybe you won't. If you lose, it doesn't mean you'll lose everything.
You'll lose less. Basically.
Yeah. So when it's just about, yeah, dude, take your losses, keep going for the wins. It's better than just quitting.
Yeah.
Or better than just accepting losing all the time. Like, no, dude, try to go get a win. And if you don't, fuck it. Keep going.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to live life in general, of like whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to chill, dude? Go grind, get everything set up, and then when you're done, go chill.
Yeah.
Go fucking do nothing. Watch TV, eat something good, chill with the homies.
Yep. I agree with that. Memories are much better than
Experiences. Well, experiences are better than like possessions.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I've never really been attached to things.
Yeah.
Like I've gone through a lot of things of I've sold a lot of my stuff in cycles.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
There would be cool to have some childhood things just for nostalgia, like, oh man, but it's gone. It's the same thing of having something from like if I was like 5 and if I was 25 missing something I was 5, it's the same thing of being 30 and missing something I was 10, or being 40 and missing something when I was fucking 25.
I don't necessarily miss a thing. I miss the feeling.
Yeah. And that's what things do.
It's experience, yeah.
Yeah, that's why old movies and old games and old music, those are just like, it reminds me of being a kid because that's when I experienced them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like smelling construction paper and remembering kindergarten. I love the smell of construction paper and crayons.
Glue and shit, like all of it just makes. I
know. It looks like you smelled glue a lot. You probably smelled a lot of glue. Did you use industrial?
I did. Like that girl who used the Gorilla Glue for hairspray.
Oh, I remember that.
And then she sued them, I think,
for her not reading the bottle. You should have called me and told me.
That's what I would have said.
Your Honor, the defendant says that the company in question should have called her and told her before she did it.
Objection.
Overruled. Sustained. What the fuck? That was weird.
Jinx.
Have you ever heard of the idea that there's an ethereal collective consciousness that like everybody can tune into, like certain waves out in the
Atmosphere.
yeah, where humans can have a collective hive mind that we can all think the same thing in like the same amount of time for the same reasons.
Interesting.
They
I
did
get what
this.
you're saying.
They did this experiment, and this could be a bullshit experiment. I might be misremembering how they did it exactly, but it was something along the lines of they did like a controlled study of like they would have a series of tests, and they would have people, only some people that knew the answers, and that they would like think really hard, kind of like trying to tap into it. They would think really hard about like knowing it and doing it, and seeing if other people who didn't know anything about the test could click into of like what the other people were thinking. Could have just been guessing.
Yeah.
But guessing is like if it's like a true false or one or the other, it's a 50-50 chance. So I mean, who knows? But even then, only they say enough people passed who were in the study. They not proved, but they were theorizing that you could tap into like people's thinking and it becoming like a collective consciousness thing.
Yeah.
Where everyone can think the same things.
Interesting.
If they're trying to, or sometimes
yeah.
subconsciously. It's almost like the Naruto tuning exams test. It's like only a few people knew, and you just had to cheat. Everybody was ninjas. They all just cheated. They had the Gara eye and the Shadow Clone.
Shadow.
I gotta pee like a motherfucker.
All right, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace.
Oh, baby.